This is the Superconscious Sisterhood and Friends podcast. We are a group of female coaches working with women from all over the world. We work with our clients to help them create a life they love, become the predominant creator in their own reality, step into their true nature and purpose, and live in health and vitality. In this podcast, I talk all things superconscious with the other coaches, and sometimes I'll have guests too. Join us as we talk personal development, hormones, motherhood, and anything else in between that comes up in the moment. Hello everyone. So this week I'm with Bri again, and we are going to talk about something that is very dear to my heart, which is giving your power away to time, which I am always doing because I like to call myself a time hole. Like, that sounds rude, but like, I'm a time black hole, like, because of my ADHD, just time just goes and I just don't know what happened to it. So anyway, sorry. So lovely for you to be here.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. I guess I love a good, like, I don't know, oversharing. It's not as early as we anticipated it to be in my world, but yeah, I'm here having a chat with Cal, and I'm really excited while my little girl sleeps. And I think it's nice to share about how we can just do it, and especially I think, like, one of my main messages as a mum is, like, you don't have to always separate from your children to live a life that you love and to, run your business. And I think, that looks a little bit different and a little bit working outside of the square. And anyway, for a fun little fact, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, and it's been a bit of an adventure, but we're here and I'm excited. And yeah, I love yesterday afternoon, I ran a session in the sisterhood called Giving Your Power Away to Time. And I think, yeah, it is such an interesting topic because what we share and the work that we do is about rising above, your self-conscious logical mind and rising above your unconscious programming and patterning to that superconscious level. And on that superconscious level, time doesn't exist. It's not. Time is a construct in this beautiful 3D reality that we live in, and it's not actually, I guess, true. And so many of us, and me included, and I think, Kel, you can, yeah, from what you're sharing, it definitely sounds like you're in that same boat. We can kind of try to project our logical timeline that we've either seen other people go through, or we've decided for whatever reason in our mind that things have to take a certain amount of time, especially if it's like a big manifestation or a big creation. We think that, it's going to take a lot of time, or even we complicate things by creating a timeline. Like, well, I can't have this until I have that, and then this must happen, and then that must happen. But what we're doing when we do that is we're blocking all of the other ways that can come into our life. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to say on that, and then I want to share a little example of something that kind of, yeah, happened for
Yeah, I
me.
think you're right, because we say, oh no, we can't have it till we've done X, Y, and Z, or we're fully fixed, or we're perfect. And then on top of that, we sort of look at the timeline at which other people have achieved certain things, and we kind of like look at the average and just assume the longest number. Whereas actually, if you really look into it, there's loads of people that have had a huge amount of success in a very short time with their businesses and things. So on the flip side, that it is, I feel like, and I've noticed this for a long time, that we're going through this phase where things are speeding up all the time. So you if you even if you think about like getting your dinner and stuff, like, it takes so much less time for us modern people compared to somebody who had to grow the grain, then they had to grind the grain to make their bread, and wait 2 hours for it to rise and all of that stuff. And now you can have fresh bread in less than an hour and a half if you've got like a bread machine or something, or even less if you just pop to the shop. So we're
I
totally in a time where a time. We're in a time. I'm plugging my laptop in a time where things are easier and quicker for us to obtain. And the key is, how do we tap into that and tie that into our intuition and actually step into that, like, timeline or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think for me, and this is what I shared last night, it's like when we place any restrictions on our creation, when we sit in the how or the when, whatever it is, we're actually not, we're not creating, we're problem solving, because if we start to project our self-conscious, logical, whatever onto anything that we're creating, we've taken ourselves out of superconscious creation. We've I guess what I said yesterday, and it seemed a little bit harsh, but it's like we're not actually surrendering to the trust of what it is to be a creator. And we're not actually allowing ourselves to be in the structure of magic, like I think, what I said yesterday, and I want to say this to everyone, and, to the people listening to this podcast, you may not have really been too familiar with what it is that we do, but we have this beautiful structure called magic, which is basically the 5 steps to create anything that you love. And the first is make a true choice. So many of the sisters in the sisterhood have made this true choice, and they know what it looks like, and they've really defined it, and that's incredible. And then they've aligned vibrationally. They do their meditation. They know what it feels like. Like I said, they know what it looks like. They're like so pumped up with the vision, and they love it, and it's incredible. And then they get to G, they notice their gap. They really sit in their current reality, and they notice the difference between where they're going and what it is now. And then they get stuck there. They stop there because they go, oh, and they go, oh, well, and then life is shit. And now in my current reality, I'm going to think it's going to take so long. And I think that I'm too far behind, or I think that this or that, or blah, 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 or I need to know the how, or I blah. And they stay there. And then they look around, they go, well, why is it working for someone else? Like, why is someone else in the sisterhood manifested their dream home? And why am I still sitting here in the pain of why am I not growing? And it's like, well, you forgot the 2 freaking most important steps, like we want to investigate, we want to unpack, we want to recode all of the reasons, including those time beliefs that we have. We want to get that all out into the surface, and just let it go with the process that we have with that beautiful recode. And then you must take the aligned action. I think, in this community, there's so much out there that's like, set the intention and it's done. But it doesn't work like that, it's like, we are blessed. If you can hear my chickens right now, she is going off.
I can't actually, but
oh, hilarious.
Oh, shame. I like chickens. She's like, I can hear you talking. That means it's dinner. It's my breakfast time. So hurry up.
It does.
I know you're awake in there.
Yes. So what I was saying is, like, we must complete that aligned action. And, there's so much out there. And it's like, even some of the beautiful teachings that I was so attached to before coming into this work that I actually see works, is like, you just put it in your vortex and then you just like do it. But the truth is, we live in a 3D reality. And I'm not saying that the action always has to be the big doing. We don't talk just about masculine action. Feminine action is action, and as important as masculine action. But what we're talking about is rising up to that superconscious level, being it, experiencing it, being in that vibration, and then asking what's obvious. And, what's obvious may be going out there and completing a masculine, a task, or it might be sit in and surrender and rest, or whatever. But whatever the action is the action that must be taken, so that you can take your step one step closer to where it is that you're going. And you keep doing that, and it's inevitable. We know that, like, that, I know that, the people that are in the work know that, but we get caught up, and it makes sense.
Yeah, we do. We get caught up so easy. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right. It makes so much sense to get caught up because we've lived in our mind for however long it has been that we've existed on this planet, and really reinforcing and building that relationship with our superconscious, and trusting that, and understanding that, and being able to, for lack of a better word, override our logical mind and I guess witness what's coming up in our mind and witness the feelings that are coming up in our body, but not taking them as truth, because they're not truth. It's just simply a decision that we've made on some, for some reason on our journey. And it's true, like we can sit there and say, well, it is a truth for me, but like you have your own truth, I have my own truth. Truth is completely
Subjective. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's subjective. And if we continue to hold on to these truths with both of our hands and with no willingness to let them go, we can't experience anything than what we're experiencing now.
Yeah. And if everybody in the whole entire universe and world did that, you would never have had new inventions. Like Einstein wouldn't have come up with half of the things he did around, the theory of physics and stuff, because he wasn't thinking, no, that's not true, because everybody's told me that it's this, and this. And so therefore the box, it doesn't expand and it stays as that. It's exactly like that. There's no change. And it's the same with every invention and every change in humanity. You have to think it first, and then you have to, it's almost like you think it, and then you work it out. Then you step into it and you work it out as you go. But until you do that part, that stepping into it, it's still just an idea here. It's never going to be an idea here. That's what
Yeah.
I think anyway. So,
Yes, I love that. And that's the thing, we talk about it like everything's created twice. Like, yes, we have to create it in the invisible, in the thinking, in the dreaming, in that imagination. And then we have to bring it into the physical. And that's where that action piece is so important. And I think, going one step further on what you were saying about, like you've got to think it first. And if we held on to our beliefs, nothing would ever be created. It's like, yeah, Bruce Lipton's work, all about biology of belief. What we actually believe becomes a physical manifestation, not only, in our thoughts, what we, see in our reality, but literally in our bodies. So it is so important for us to witness the things that we've decided are true and ask ourselves, like, is that serving us? Like, I know we're talking about time, but we've gone pretty broad, but like coming back to time, is it serving me to decide and to believe that it's going to take me 10 years to build a successful business, or it's going to take me, all of this time before I can find the person that, I want to be in a relationship with? Or is it serving me to believe that I have to do this, this, this in this order for then this thing to happen on my timeline? Is it serving you? Like, the answer is pretty obvious, but we still hold on to those beliefs.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's almost like, I mean, yeah, what you believe, what you focus on does become your reality. But if you don't take the action step, it takes longer, doesn't it? So it will still happen, but it might not happen immediately or in the way that you are hoping.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a bit of both, isn't it? You really do need to visualize to manifest. And it's not just about seeing it, it's really getting into the emotions and feelings of it as well. And also trying to bring that idea down to the subconscious level where you're not actively thinking about it in your, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It has to
It's
be a
like an
bit of both.
embodiment. You've got to
Sorry.
embody it. It's an embodiment, it's like we talk about
Yeah,
being her. And like, it's like, yeah, it's like, it's all well and good to like know it and feel it and embody it. And I'm sorry, no, and visualize it. But in that realm, it's still separate from you. Like when we do that, if we're just doing like, I guess, simple, like normal manifestation or normal visualization, we still like think about it. Because like if you do that, it's like what you've created is this, well, that's what I want, but I'm here. And that's
yeah,
like over the, but I'm here and I don't have that. And there's this massive separation, but we know that you
yeah,
can't have something that you're not, it's like the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are.
yeah,
And
exactly.
to be the vibrational match to what it is that you want to be, you must be it now. And the most obvious way for you to do that is to ask, well, what's obvious? Like, how can I live and exist in that vibration? How can I take the first step? And I think, we do get so overwhelmed by like thinking, oh my God, there's a whole mountain to climb, especially if it's a massive creation. And we get overwhelmed and we're like, fuck that, I'm not even going. Like, I'm going to just stay home. But what we teach
Yeah.
is that, all you need to do is the first step, and then the next step, and the next step. And if you just focus on that, all of a sudden you're at the top of the mountain and it doesn't even feel like you've gone too far because you've only been focused on the one step in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you just instead of looking at the whole overwhelming task, um, and that's quite a useful tip for people with ADHD as well. Because like sometimes you'll get to a place where the room. A room has got to a big mess and it's just a pile of stuff, and when you go in it, you go, oh my God, no way, no, I'm just leaving. And then you just leave and because you can't handle it because it just seems like a mountain. But there's one psychiatrist woman, Dr. Barbara Cohen, her name is, she says you get overwhelmed because if you're thinking too much about everything all at once. And one trick to do is to like cover over the pile of stuff and then just take one little thing out at a time and then go and put that where it's supposed to go and blah, blah, blah. And it's exactly the same principle, if you think about it, as the work that we do. But instead of just being a room that's a mess, it's like looking at your whole life and a huge goal that you have. So
Yeah.
I just thought it's perfect way to do it, isn't it? It's just that more focused approach, rather than, oh, what am I going to do next? Um,
Yes.
and it's like that Japanese philosophy, Kaizen, I really like, which is about, mastering something, but just taking your time to master it, a little bit a day, which, okay, that doesn't tie in with us saying about, we can, smush the time and get it quicker, but it still takes you towards your goal, which is what you want. So, I,
I think it
yeah,
does, because
doesn't,
I think the thing is that the tie-in of that belief is that we believe that it's going to take a long time to get to mastery and we need to become a master before we can have it. But the truth is
yeah,
that's just a belief, that's another timeline that we've created. And the truth is you can have it. You don't have to be ready, you don't have to be a master to have what it is that you're calling in. Like it can come.
yeah,
And that was another thing I spoke about on the call yesterday. It's like we create all these extra beliefs that kind of tie into that time belief of like, well, I, like you said at the start, like I need to be healed, or like I need to feel ready, or I need to be a master, or I need to be this before it can happen. But that's not true either. Like
no,
the truth
no,
is
it's
in
not
creation
true.
that you actually have to be a beginner and you have to be a novice and you have to go on that
Mm.
journey, and that is a part of creation and that is a part of it, and that is it. It's like
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
we still live in this like the polarity of like, well, when this then that, instead of just
yeah.
realizing that the whole thing is actually the creation, not just the end
End
result,
result.
but
Yeah. It's the journey as well, isn't it? It's the journey to get there. It's not
yeah.
just the when I finally got this, then
Yeah, yeah.
that's the thing. Um, and I think we forget this so much. And we also forget, like, as we get older, we get to this place where we put even more rules and regulations and stipulations on whether or not we can have something, because we've kind of like built up these unwritten rules in our mind from everything that we've observed over X amount of years. But the truth is that's actually just bullcrap. Those rules are just they're just what you've observed, but you've only observed one small segment of society in your area. You don't know. You don't
No,
know. Um,
no.
so
And
anyway,
that's the thing, like, can we be okay with not knowing? And I guess, I did want to
oh,
share a little before we segue into focus creates your reality. Yeah, like my example of, me projecting my timeline onto a creation is I've been, choosing to create a new car. Like that's been a true choice of mine. It's almost a bit of a necessity at the moment with where I live and
Yeah.
what's going on with my road and all of these things. And I don't want to sit in the place of problem solving. And I did want to, like, I want a fun car and I want this and I'm blah, blah,
You need
blah.
a tank, don't you?
Basically. And at the moment I'm borrowing my dad's car because the car that I own at the moment is just a little car and I live in the bush and I need a 4-wheel drive. Anyway, and I'm like, then the logical mind comes in and projects this timeline of like, right now that can't be a priority because, like there's just, you need to have this much money, spare money sitting in your bank before you can just go out there and buy your car in full. And then you can do it and it gets to be all you. And I've like created this, like all of
Yeah.
these beliefs and rules. And then just the other day, my dad's like, oh, hey, Bri, I found this car. Like, is this something that you're looking for? Blah, blah, blah. I'm happy to buy it. You can just pay me back. And I was
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Because you in your mind you only think that there's one way, but the
yeah.
things that you need can be given to you in so many different ways. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that one way. And the universe is always like giving you miracles or things without you having to,
And I
yeah,
almost
be
said no.
exactly what you imagine. Because again, it's the rules, isn't it? We set the framework. We think it's going to be exactly like this, but the
Yeah.
truth is, it's not. It's going to be however it can be.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And like, yeah, that's what I guess that's what I really want to impart today is like, if you still believe that there has to be a certain how or a certain when or a certain way that your manifestation comes into your life, you're completely blocking everything else. And
Yeah,
like,
because
yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
there's
go.
so many ways it could come, and you're like, you've only just given the universe one or two ways, or I'm not having it. I don't want it,
Yeah,
universe, because
yeah, yeah.
it's coming in that way. No, that's not the way I envisage it. I'm sorry.
100%. Like a girlfriend said to me the other day, like, and she's in this work too. And I talked to her a lot about it. And she said, oh, I really wanted this necklace. And her partner, just like me and my partner, they've just separated too. And her partner said, oh, I just bought you this necklace, her ex. And she's like, ew, what? Like I don't want you to buy me. And then she like stopped and she was sending me a message and she's like, why am I doing that? Like I wanted that necklace. Like I wanted it. And now here it
Yeah.
is showing up. And I'm still trying to say, no, that's not the way I wanted it though. But it's like, is that not the end result that you want? And she's like, and so I just said thanks, like awesome. Like that's
Yeah.
cool.
He must have bought it before they split up then, I suppose.
No, she didn't. But it was just like, she was like, why are you buying me gifts? Like, this is a bit like a lot. But
Yeah.
then she's like, why does it matter? Like, why am I choosing to attach all these beliefs and all this bullshit to the thing that I actually just want?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Because we get suspicious, don't we? And we think, oh, what's the price we have to pay if it comes a different way sometimes.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we just have to be more trusting. And if it's something that we've asked for, we've asked our higher self, our superconscious, this is what we want. Then, however, in whatever form it comes, within reason, it's still what we wanted. So,
Yeah.
so. So
I
yeah,
feel like it's that surrendering. It's that true surrender to conscious creation. Because
yeah,
if we're not truly surrendering to like, this is what I want, this is what it feels like, this is where I am, I'm letting go of my shit and I'm taking the action. If we don't surrender fully to that, we're actually just still sitting in problem solving and we're just still trying to control and manipulate and yeah, problem solve our way to something that we want. But we know that that doesn't work.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it works to a certain extent, but not really, not in the way that we want it to work. But
Yeah.
and usually, when you get your manifestations through problem solving, it's because you're trying to solve a problem, not because it's something that you truly resonate with in your heart. So, you know, so
And then
it's
it's
not
always
always,
just another problem to solve.
yeah, it's just and I think it's almost like your ego really, really does want to be right, or your subconscious or whatever we call it, unconscious, I think we call it, don't we? It just wants to be, it wants to be proved right. So sometimes I feel like it really does trip you up to stop you even taking the action sometimes, because it
Yeah.
feels like, no, no, we cannot take the action because then I will be wrong. And I cannot deal with that. It's, it's
Yes.
so haughty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
And
it does
that
want to
flows
keep
in
us
really,
safe, you
really
know.
nice. Yes, it
Hmm?
does. I
Yeah,
said that flows in really, really nice to like when when you were saying that our unconscious and our subconscious just wants to be proven right, when we continue
mm,
to focus on that and when we continue to like to breathe life, I think this is something that we do so often, quite unconsciously, but we continue to breathe life into that old way. You know, we
yeah,
continue to label ourselves in, well, I am this and I can't that. Or, you know, even if we want to stay on that time, like, well, it is going to take a long time. And then that
yeah.
is your focus. And we have this incredible thing. I don't remember it's called our reticular something, RAS. Anyway, I didn't know it had a name until just the other day. But it's basically the fact that our conscious mind can only process about 50 bits of information per second, but we're
Oh,
actually
yeah,
receiving 11 billion things. Like there's 11 billion bits of information coming into us, and we filter that through what it is we continue to choose to focus on. So, for example, you know, like yesterday, I had a few things that happened, and my focus started to go onto the shit. You know, it started to feel like, oh my God, am I cut out for this? Am I blah, blah, blah? Like, what am I doing? And then all of a sudden, all of the evidence to support what I was focusing on just kept coming. And it was like a
yeah,
steam, you know,
yeah. It does,
and the same, yeah, it does because your focus creates your
does.
reality, you know? And
Yeah,
obviously what we try to shift, and you know, I know this work, and I like took myself away and I did myself a big old dance and I shook out my shit and I came back to focus, and it did, and my day shifted because my focus shifted and my energy shifted. So what I was choosing to see, and when I say choosing, I don't mean like consciously looking at something, I mean like what my brain is starting to filter shifted. And that's, you know, like that's why we have our morning ritual that we have, you know, that's why
mm,
we do our choices each morning, and we want to do it before we do anything else, because we set up that beautiful magnet or that beautiful filter that we have to actually see the incredible things and to actually filter through those 11 billion bits of information. Like, think about
yeah,
it. That's insane. It's literally 99.99 something insanely amount of all of that gets filtered out. We miss it. So if you're
yeah. We
waking
only
up,
see,
yeah, like
yeah,
if we wake up and we go straight onto our phone and then we look at, you know, there's so much shit, you know, and I get it, you know,
yeah,
it's like people want us to be invested in, and this is not me like saying that there's not things going on in the world that aren't important. But what I believe is most important is your truth and your
mm,
groundedness and your aligned energy and you in your higher self, because you in your truth, in your fullest expression, is the only way that you're actually going to be able to change the world. You know, like coming from a
yeah,
place of fear and coming from a place of helplessness and coming from a place of like feeling like everything is fucked. Sorry if we didn't
yeah.
want to use of words.
No, no, you're totally right, because that's what you get when you pick up your phone. You go, oh,
Yeah.
oh, they're sending more missiles somewhere. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, blah blah blah. Oh, the tax is going up. These are all the messages you get from your news. You don't get anything that's positive. Oh, so and so, this race is fighting this race. This is an incitement to, people fighting each other. It's all about like fear and getting people to hate each other for their differences. That's all they publish in the news. They don't publish anything else that's about, lifting us up, or
Mm-mm.
oh, look, this is a really good thing someone's done. It's all about oh no, we need to be fighting each other because those ones that we've let in, they're going to do this to your kids or blah blah blah, and you can see the narrative. It's clear as day. So I don't watch the news anymore, but you're right. It's almost like what I was thinking earlier was it's almost like if you wake up and the first thing you think about is your four core sort of orientational choices. So that's what we focus on in our work. And then you're focusing on exactly what it is you want to build. And you're thinking about that for a good 5-10 minutes. That's an instruction to the universe, your superconscious, higher self, whatever your guides, if you have them, if you resonate with that, to actually say, these are the things I want to focus on today. So bring me more information pertaining to that rather than letting me have to focus all the wade through all the shit to get to the good stuff. Because you were right, and I felt like that today, exactly what you felt like yesterday, where because you just let the thoughts of the worry about something come up, because that's the way that we're taught to just live our lives all the time, rather than actually focusing on what is real, what is here, what do I have control of in this moment, what do I want in that moment. So much more, such a happier place to be, isn't it? Rather than, oh, I'm rubbish. I'm noticing the patterns all the time in my own life. Um, and the more we talk about the work, the more I learn from my own experience and what the other coaches talk about. It just all starts to really fall into place more. And like this podcast, for example, I've been dreaming about it for a long time. And now finally we're doing it, and that's great. And we are pushing to make it happen, even like today where we've had to juggle some things around. So I feel like it's just, yeah, you just got to focus on what you want. And I feel like time can be, you can step into the right timeline, you can compress it, make that quantum jump. So we have a masterclass coming up as well, don't we? So that's you should probably tell them a bit about that, because if anyone's listening, they might be interested to do it, to have a little sample. A little sample.
We love a little sample. So yeah, like we kind of segued into before, if you see some
Hi, OC.
my small person is having some food. The masterclass is your focus creates your reality. And what we were talking about before, and especially about, curating that first 15 to half an hour of your day can completely shift how your day goes. And then what is that like on a grander scale when you actually consciously choose to focus on the things that you desire, the things that you love, feeling and being and existing and taking that action in the way that's going to move you towards what it is that you want. Your life completely change. You go from a place of reactivity to choice, and you go from a place of feeling out of control and feeling like life is happening to you to actually creating life that you desire. And even when the things happen in life, because there's no way that, you're ever going to stop things. Yes, you are the predominant creator of your life, but you're always co-creating, and things inevitably are going to happen in your life. You can't pretend that just because you're going to shift into this work and just because you're going to focus on the good doesn't mean that, hard things aren't going to arise. But when that happens, you have the tools and you understand how to redirect your focus back to being a predominant creator, being that powerful person in your life that knows how to take that next step. And it's not about avoidance, it's not about running away from everything that potentially feels a little bit difficult in your life. It's about understanding how to utilize those 5 steps of magic. It's understanding how to actually know that you're going to create the things that live in your heart. And what I really want to share in this masterclass, and what I will share in this masterclass, is how, like we were just talking about, like there is so much noise out there in the world at the moment. There's so many things that want us to believe that times are uncertain, that things are hard, that, like the economy, the, global politics, like there's so much out there that wants us to believe that we're doomed, that it's all doom and gloom, life is hard, this is that, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is that is only, 5 pieces of the 11 billion bits of information that are there. But when you choose to focus on that, and like we were talking about before, you're going to continue to find more and more evidence that that is true. But the same can be
Yeah,
said on the flip side of that. When you choose to focus on, the magic, when you choose to focus on the joy, when you choose to focus on the things that actually you want to feel in your life, that too grows. And when that grows, when you're living in that vibration, everything becomes beautiful. And that's what we're here. We're here to really reintroduce people that, like, life is fucking epic, and you are here for this beautiful reason, that your heart wants to create the things that you've been put on this planet to create. And, sitting in a focus of like doom and gloom is not serving you. And the truth is, it's not serving anyone. It's literally not serving. Your highest good is in the highest good of everyone. Like that,
yeah,
just
yeah,
period after,
absolutely,
But when we sit in
absolutely.
this space of observing, and like I said, once again, it's not to dismiss that there aren't things going on, and it's not to dismiss that there aren't people having a hard time, and it's not to, but when you sit in that vibration, you are no help either. The
Yeah,
only
yeah, and
thing that, yeah,
yeah, it's like the more miserable, the more you sit in that vibration, the more miserable you get, and the more everything seems pointless, and the less you want to do.
mm,
Whereas if you take that situation and say, well, what can I learn from it? What can I focus on instead? Where are the things in life that still bring me joy? Because there must be those things. And don't get me wrong, when you're at the lowest point, when you're really super mega, suffering from really bad depression or something like that, it takes a while to refocus and reframe into that place where you don't feel as scared, you don't feel as anxious, and you can actually start to see where the good things are still, the things that you can be grateful for. But it is possible to do that still. It is, there's no, you can always bring yourself back up. It just takes time, and I think it's the when you're focusing on all the crap things, you're just creating more illness and inflammation and stress in your body. And the worse you feel, the worse you feel. So you just keep escalating, And it's going back to that whole Bruce Lipton thing about the epigenetics and how it's your focus. So if you can change how you're focusing on something, then you that's almost half the win, isn't it? You still might have a couple of things to do. You can't just focus on a bunch of money and the money just falls out of the sky. It doesn't really work like that. Sometimes, but you still
yeah.
have to do some things. But then, even by saying that, am I limiting myself? Hmm. I think there's still got to be some rules in the 3D world, a little bit that
I
we're
think
all
it's more
agreed on
about,
universally, but
yeah, I
um,
think it's more about just going back to like what's obvious, like asking, because like from that super conscious perspective, you don't need to understand, the rules or the laws. It's like, okay, this is what I desire. This is what it feels like. This is me in the energy of it. Like, here I am. This is what life's like now, but I'm going to stay in this energy. And then what's obvious? And like, what's obvious, maybe the way that it is going to come to you, and maybe the way that superconscious knows that it's coming to you is, oh yeah, you just sit there and you just do your thing, and then you're going to inherit $3 million
Could
from a
be.
long lost person. It could be that's
Could
the
be.
truth, but our logical mind doesn't get to be the decider of that. It's like when you ask that
No.
question, what's obvious, the wisdom will come, and then that's
Yeah.
what must happen.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You've got an extra hand.
And
Yeah,
it
because
doesn't have to be a
when I think,
guessing
oh,
game.
what's
I think that's the
obvious?
thing. Sorry.
It's
Like,
like keep doing the podcast, isn't it? Like that's the thing that
yeah.
comes to me. But that's not just the one only answer. There's other things to do as well. But I think I try to overcomplicate it sometimes. I need to get more into that space of innocence and not be like, there's a million options. What's obvious?
Yeah. It's like that whole one step, you know, like try not to focus on the whole mountain, like know that that's your end result and know that that's the energy that you want to create from and stay there and be there and live there. But then
Yeah,
when it comes to focusing on what must happen, it's really about just taking that one next step. That's literally all we can do.
yeah. One next step, and just remember to have a bloody good time on the journey, you know?
Yeah, and ask, you know, ask yourself. One of my favorite things is like, how can I bring the joy? How can I bring the joy? Like, even because the truth is, like, stepping into a new reality, creating something that's big, creating, you know, maybe it's a business, maybe it's, you know, financial abundance, maybe it's a relationship, whatever it is, you know, it is going to be new to your unconscious. That is the truth. So
Mm.
by, you know, by literal understanding of our unconscious, that is going to feel uncomfortable. And taking action is potentially some of the time going to feel uncomfortable. But what I always ask is like, how can I make this fun? You know, because
Yeah.
knowing this work and knowing that I'm going to have to take aligned action no matter what, you can always make it a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, it can make it fun, you know. And some things naturally are fun once you start to do them. Like me talking to all of you coaches is fun for me. So I don't know what it's funny, isn't it? Because there's a lot of fear around certain things, and that's where you get all your sabotaging beliefs and stuff come up. And you know, I think that's why I love this work because it really helps you to step into that new identity. And yeah, using that recode really does help to take the edge off of some things. But the truth is, some things, if you find them terrifying, you're never, you know, the only way to truly deal with that is to keep taking the action, really, because otherwise it's like riding a bike, isn't it? You just get on it and you go, do it. It's
Yeah.
fun.
And
And
I
it's
think that's
funny
the
how when
thing.
you're a kid, it's so much easier to do everything, you know?
It's because
Anyway,
we're still really in that place of neuroplasticity, which we still have, but we've created all those rules around, you know, why we can't or why we can or blah blah blah. We're like we've really solidified our identity, but we are still
yeah,
so fluid if we let ourselves be. You know, if you choose to, like, can you just embrace the ickiness? Like, can you just embrace, you know, like as a kid we did, you know, like you just tried again and you just did it and it was okay.
yeah,
But I think we've been told in our society that you've got to look proficient and you've got to do this and it's got to be perfect and it needs to be this and blah blah blah. And we hold on to those, you know, like
yeah,
like I was saying before, we grip onto that
yeah.
and we say that is true. You know, that belief
Yeah.
is true.
That,
So
that
I
is the
can't.
law.
Yes.
That is That's
Yeah.
exactly what we have to do. We cannot deviate from that ever.
No.
Yeah, we get
No.
set in our ways. It's like that.
Yes.
You can't take I do think you can teach an old dog new tricks, but it's like
Yes.
that. That saying, isn't it? Even that saying has weight. You can't
Yes.
teach an old dog new tricks. Well,
Yes.
actually, that's rubbish because at any age in your life, you can learn something new as long as you have the willpower and the intent to do it. That's a foot now to do it. So you know, um,
When we sit, it's just all, I think, really understanding one, the different levels of our consciousness and
yeah,
understanding that our logical mind is always going to want to logic us. You know, it's always going to want to tell us the this and the that and the reason and the belief and the blah blah blah. And our unconscious is always going to want to show us why things don't feel safe because we haven't
yeah,
experienced it before. And that's the truth. And that's not going to go away. But we
no,
must love that, you know,
it's
and we
not.
must just observe it for what it is. When you become the observer, which is really what superconscious is about. You know, like you take that step back and you become the observer, and then from there you decide instead of being
Yeah.
reactive. You know, like
Yeah,
it's you
you
know this
do.
and I know this. When you start to create, your mind doesn't stop happening. Like the thoughts in your
No.
mind are still there. The thoughts are like, okay, for example, yesterday, you know, the thoughts of like, am I even cut out for this? Blah, blah, blah. You know, they're there. It is
Yeah.
my choice if I focus on them. It is my choice if I go down that rabbit hole. It is my choice
Yeah.
if I buy in to what my mind is telling me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you
Showing
almost
up.
have to be, you know, that meme where Batman is slapping the mean person, and he's like, it's almost like you have to be Batman with the thoughts, like, get out.
Well, even like not even that. I guess it's
How?
more about like don't there's nothing wrong with them, and I think that's also a learning too. It's like understanding that our self-conscious is doing exactly what it should do and our unconscious is doing exactly what
It's
it
a
should
friend
do.
attack.
But it's just not giving our power to it, you know? It's like
Yeah.
to make it I guess the shortest way possible. It's almost ignoring, you know, it's witnessing and letting it be. And then deciding from that superconscious obvious place what you're going to do anyway, you know, despite it. And
Yeah.
it's not in opposition of it. It is just doing what you must do no matter what.
And eventually, I think, and me and Debbie touched upon this as well, is eventually, I think if you keep doing what it is you want to do, what your heart is choosing for you, and you keep taking the steps towards that, eventually your ego is going to say, oh, okay, there is another way. I do see what you're doing here. I understand it is safe. Yes,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to help support you with
Yeah.
this dream now. Even though we kind of thought that we couldn't do it like that before. It's
Well, it's
almost like
because
you can
got the evidence, you
divert
know?
the river yourself
Yeah.
eventually,
Yeah.
to this is the new route. And it's almost like you have to have a patience and a calmness with the ego to say, I do understand what you're saying. Look, we could do it this way.
Yeah.
No, but what about this way? You just
Yeah.
have to keep
Yeah.
refocusing it. Oh,
Definitely.
look over here.
And that's the thing. It's like we have conscious choice of where our focus goes. So many of us think that we don't, you know, so many of us still
Yeah, we
sit in
do.
that like, oh, no, but that happened to me. So that meant that I was angry. And it's like, yeah, okay, like
Yeah,
sensation of anger, like there's nothing wrong with that. But then it's a choice if you want to stay there. And it's a choice if you want to
yeah,
extend that. And it's a choice if you want to act upon that. You know,
yeah.
most
It's
of
your
us are,
choice. Yeah,
yeah, it is. And most of
and
us are, it's unconscious because we
yeah.
haven't actually brought it to light and we haven't actually, I think the understanding is the first importance, you know, understanding that we are more than our mind and we are more than our feelings. Like that understanding is massive because if you just believe that you are your thoughts and your feelings, like how could you ever think that you could shift that?
Yeah, you couldn't. And I think that when when I look back before I started this work, there were so many times in my life when I was always more reactionary all the time to other people, to things, to places. And now I think about that, when I look back at a person who's behaving like that, I can see why people feel like the way that they do. They get all these assumptions and then they behave in this way. But actually, I think that you are showing that you're powerless. You're showing that you can't find a different way or think about it a different way. And there's no diss to anyone who just reacts to something because they feel emotional. It's just when I think now about how I behaved very like I didn't have any power. I
Yeah.
wasn't, I had no power. I had no respect for myself. And I couldn't, I just lashed out because I thought, oh, this person is hurting my feelings, so I'm going to lash out. Don't get me wrong, I still have my moments, but it's such a great moment when you look back and you realize and you go, oh, I did that, and I feel so much better for not doing it now. I'm not perfect, but I feel so much better in myself. I really do.
Yeah. I think to kind of come back to like the masterclass, it's,
Sorry.
you know, no, it's so fun. It's so fun. I love this conversation. I could chat all day, but I'm definitely going to have to head off soon. But
You can feed the chickens.
I just fed them before on the
Ah,
way back, but I am going to have a little person that's going to want to play very soon. But I think what is so important in this lifetime, especially if you are someone who wants to live an incredible life, and I think that's probably like very natural for all of us, but you know, potentially some of people have really strong beliefs that, you know, life is about suffering and blah blah blah, and that's okay. You know, if that's a belief that you are really dead set on holding on to, then you do that. I'm not here to convince you any otherwise. But if you do desire a life that feels amazing and that is in alignment with your heart, and that you're living a life that just feels great, and you want to, you know, like, I think back to the difference before I started this work, and my life was really good. Like, I'm not going to deny this. Like, I had a really cool existence, and I was doing the things that I love, but it was never to the extent that I knew. Like, I just had this deep knowing that there was so much more. And I had this deep knowing that I was here to do really big things, but I didn't know how. And I just had sat in this place of gratitude for what I did have. And, you know, like, I
yeah,
just thought that, you know, like, if I'm just grateful enough, then like, that's cool. And I just can be, you know, I can just be content with the life that I've got, and like, that'll be fine. But when you actually step into one, unpacking what is in your heart and what it is that you're here for, and the level that you're here to experience this life, I don't think that you can go back, you know? And I
no,
think if you're ready for that, like, come and join this masterclass. If you're ready to understand how you can bring that power back to yourself, and how you can consciously create how it is you want to feel in each and every day, and you can consciously decide what it is that you choose in this lifetime and what it is that you want, and not from a place of like needing, not from a place of like, oh, so and so up the road has that cool car, so I want that cool car because then that will make me whatever. You know, like, that's problem solving. We're not here to problem solve your life. We're here to create the things that live in your heart. If you want
yeah,
to learn and understand that, and if you want to shift your consciousness in the fastest way possible, like, honestly, I don't think that there's any other modality out there that literally can completely up level and change your vibration and shift things as fast as a superconscious rapid recode does. Come, it's a free experience, you know, like, there's no strings attached. You just get to come, you get to show up. If you love it, then obviously we're going to offer you to come and join the sisterhood. There's no pressure. It just is a beautiful experience. And if you are tired of feeling bombarded by, you know, the woe is me, the doom and gloom of the news, the comparison on social media, if you are tired of feeling chaotic, if you're tired of feeling overwhelmed, if you're tired of feeling stressed, if you're tired of waking up actually dreading life, like, you have to come, honestly. Like,
yeah.
it's as
And
simple as that. I just want to say one last thing. It's like, for me, when my life was a little bit chaotic, a little while ago, going through a separation, like a lot of things happening, I shifted my focus. I shifted my focus onto the chaos, and I shifted my focus, and I let go of doing the practices that I know that I need, like, I desire to do. And the way that I was showing up and the way that I was experiencing life completely shifted. And I definitely got sucked into feeling like things were hard, and feeling like I was a victim, and feeling like all of these things were happening and I was powerless and blah, 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 because my focus went there. But
yeah,
the beautiful thing is, you get the decision to redecide and refocus at any given moment. And that's what I did. And, you know, my reality hasn't changed. I'm still going through a separation. There's still so many things up in the air. There's still all of these things, but my focus has shifted. I'm back doing my morning choices. I'm back doing my lenses. I'm back in it. And life is so different. The way that I'm
yeah,
experiencing is so different. I am vibrant. I'm alive. I feel good. Like, We do all of the things that we want to do, and I feel the way that I want to feel. And it's simply because I shifted my focus.
Yeah, and it's because, you know, shifting your focus as well, it gives you that opportunity to focus on the things that you already have, that you're grateful for, the things that you're already abundant in, you know, all of those great things. So I feel like it's just so much more helpful than dwelling in the fact that this is happening to me. Oh, it's really bad, and now my life has changed, and I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. Whereas the truth is, it's happened, and it's something that you have to, you know, manage, but you don't have to dwell in the emotions of it all the time. You can let them come up and release them, but you can focus on what you are creating, and then more of that love and joy will come to you in a different way. You know, so yeah, I think it's a really great approach. One of the ladies in the group, she had a recent family member deceased, which was really sad to hear. But she'd said that when she'd started doing this work, and just helped her to focus on what she is creating, and she's still giving room for the grief to come up, and you know, let it run its course, which is a human thing to do. But it certainly helps to have your mind focused on something positive that you're building as well. So I don't know.
For sure.
Anyway, there's
So
me going on a bit of a waffle, but
we could go on forever, and I love chatting. But so details are 8th of May. Yeah. The 8th of May, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That should be a good time for everyone, except for maybe, no, my love.
10 a.m. Eastern Time. Australia is like midnight for UK at the moment. So it'd be all right for me, because I like to stay up late, but not everyone likes to stay up late. So yeah.
That's okay. We will have the replay available for 48 hours, so you can jump on that. Jump in. We'll put the sign up link in the show notes. But yeah,
yes,
thank you.
I'll post it in the show notes, and also in the top, it'll be in the top comment, and I'll do a little synopsis of times for some places, but not everywhere in the world, because it'd be really long. So
thank you so much, Kel. Thanks for chatting.
well, thank you. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Osi for showing her hand and foot. So it was really nice to see. And thanks everyone for stopping by. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed our content, then please subscribe or check out our socials. I've been your host, Kelly Robinson, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Take care, much love, goodbye.